Hey guys, I'm John Setzler. Welcome back to Atlanta Grill Company. Today we're going to fire up one of our grills, maybe the PK360 today. I've got a beautiful tri-tip, so I want to make kind of a man cave version of a steak au poivre. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is introduce you to the star of today's show, which is this 2-pound tri-tip that I got from Porter Road out in Nashville, Tennessee. And the first thing I'm going to do is give this guy a nice liberal coat of salt on the outside, and I'm going to flip it over and get some back here on this fat cap as well. And don't be stingy with the salt, because this is a decent sized cut. We're going to get it all over it, and then I'm just going to rub that in just a little, and then I'm going to hit the top side of it with just a little bit of granulated garlic. And the reason I'm not using a rub on this particular cut is because this one is all about the salt and the pepper. It's primarily about the pepper. So I'm going to pat that in. And then I have some extremely coarsely ground black pepper that I'm just going to put all over the top side of this. I'm going to pat that in, and I'm going to let it stick on there for a few minutes. And as you know, I like to wrap mine and put it in the refrigerator overnight, which is exactly what I'm going to do with this. But if you don't want to do that step, this one's ready to go. I'm going to get started here by lighting up a fire starter in the firebox of my PK360. And I've got a small chimney of charcoal briquettes here that we're going to set on top of this and let those guys get going for about 20 minutes or so. My coals aren't completely lit up yet, but I'm going to go ahead and dump them over here on the right hand side of my grill. And I'm going to use my tongs here just to kind of spread these guys out and give myself a nice even and level high temperature cooking zone. And we will close the lid up on the grill and let these briquettes finish ashing over. So I've taken our tri-tip back out of the vacuum seal bag. This guy's been riding in the refrigerator for right at about 24 hours. So it's very well seasoned, and our charcoal is just about ready to go. So I've got our charcoal bed nice and hot here. So we're gonna take this guy, put it on here, and we're gonna give it a really nice sear on both sides. That bottom side's got a good fat cap on it, so we're gonna let that render down just a minute here. And we're gonna keep this guy moving over this fire. I'm gonna get my tongs out here, and we're just gonna give it a flip, and we're gonna keep it moving so we can get a nice good quality sear on both sides of this. And as this continues to cook, like I said, I'm gonna keep turning it. That back side's got a bit of a fat cap on it that I want to render off a good bit of it as we go. And then we'll just turn it again. Like I said, just keep this guy moving. Okay, after you get a good sear and a little bit of char on the outside of this thing to where you're happy with what it looks like, and I think I am there on this one, we're going to move it over here to the indirect side of the grill, and we're going to close the lid on that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that cook over here on indirect until the internal temperature on that gets up to about 120 degrees Fahrenheit. And also, while I'm on the indirect side, I'm going to open up, I'm going to get a little bit of smoke wood on there to put a little bit of oak smoke on this. Okay, while that tri-tip's finishing up, we're going to make our sauce. And I've got a saucepan here over medium-high heat. I'm going to put in a little bit of canola oil, and I'm going to put in a little bit of butter also, and I will give you all these measurements in the video description. So I want to get that butter melted. And when that butter gets melted, that's browned a little bit, and that's okay. I'm going to put in some finely diced shallots and some finely diced garlic, and we're just going to saute that here until that becomes fragrant, until those shallots start to become kind of translucent here. And as our onions get ready, we're going to put in a nice healthy dose of coarsely cracked black pepper, and we're just going to stir that in here and let that start to become fairly fragrant here as well, probably for another minute, maybe 90 seconds. And then our next phase here, I'm going to put in just a tablespoon or two of bourbon and let that heat for just a second. And then I'm going to see if I can get a little flambé action here. There we go. I don't know how well you can see that on the camera, but that'll help burn that alcohol off, and that brings a beautiful aroma. I wish you could smell that burning off. I'm going to keep that stirring. I think that alcohol's about out of there, but that's something you can choose to do. You can do the flambé if you want to or not. Most of that alcohol is going to burn out of there fairly quickly and leave that bourbon flavor behind. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I've got some beef broth that we're going to add to this, and I'm going to let this come back up to a simmer, and we're going to reduce that beef broth here by about half. And after our sauce reduces by about half, we're going to put in our heavy cream, and we're going to stir this up and bring this back to a simmer and let it reduce until this thickens up, and then we'll check it for taste. And as this comes back up to a simmer, you're going to want to keep your heat in check, because this will start to thicken fairly quickly, and you want to keep your eye on it. You want it to where it coats the back of a spoon, and it needs to coat a little better than that. So I'm going to let this keep going for a couple of minutes. And after just a couple of more minutes, I believe this is ready. This is definitely coating the spoon nicely. So I'm going to reduce the heat just down to warm, and I'm going to put the lid on this and keep it warm until our meat's ready. And here's a final look at what the consistency of this sauce should look like. You don't want it too thick, so this looks just about perfect. And our tri-tip is ready. I just checked the temperature on this thing. We're up above, just a little above 120 internally, so I'm going to take this off, cover it with foil, and let it rest for a few minutes. And just so you can have a look at that tri-tip after it comes off, it's perfect. It's about rested up to where it's going to be. It's going to sit for just a couple more minutes. And this is an oddly shaped tri-tip. This is one of the rare ones I've had where it's kind of hard to see here, but all the grain on this one is running in the same direction. I'm going to be able to slice that guy right down through here like this and not have to change directions on my slice. And these are these Porter Road tri-tips. I've had great luck with these, so let me plate some of this. Okay, I'm finished with my rest. So the first thing I want to do is just come right down through the middle of this guy and let you have a look at the cook we have here. Man, that looks perfect. I am absolutely 100% stoked with that. So I'm going to slice some of this up, plate it, and then we'll put some sauce on it. And I'm going to let you have one more little peek at that before I put this on the plate. This thing looks crazy good, guys. Okay, I've got that sliced, and I'm just going to get some of our sauce on that bad boy. And guys, I wish you could have a taste of that, because it is crazy, crazy good. So give this a try. Let me know what you think. Until next time, this is John Setzler with Atlanta Grill Company.